We can only wonder if former St Anne's biology teacher, Margaret White, remembers a bright student with flaming red hair called Alison Farley, as it was Miss White who inspired now Dr. Farley to pursue a career in science. This stellar career includes being involved in groundbreaking research, publications and patents in cell and developmental biology, all aimed at improving medical treatments for people all around the world. After graduating from La Trobe University in 1995, Alison began her career as a research assistant in one of Australia's most prestigious research centres, the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research, or WEHI. In those early years, Alison was fortunate to be part of a dynamic WEHI team which published numerous papers on understanding protein interactions which could help develop drugs for cancer treatment. From WEHI, Alison travelled to Scotland to work and study at Edinburgh University, where, thanks to her mother's Irish heritage, she was able to enrol in a PhD as an EU citizen, rather than as a far more costly international student. Alison's parents, Thomas and Bridget, worked hard to give their children a good education, and it was a proud day when they flew to Edinburgh to watch Alison graduate with a doctorate from the same university that nurtured Charles Darwin. Her 12 years working at Edinburgh University also marked a critical change in direction for Alison's research. Her new focus became understanding the thymus, a vital part of our immune system. As part of this research, Alison and her team described the fundamental developmental steps in thymus biology, which was published in top international journals. Another major event in Alison's time in Scotland was getting married and having 2 children, and in 2012 they returned to Australia, where Alison took up a position at Melbourne University with Professor Martin Perra, who was among the first to discover human stem cells. More recently, however, she has returned to where it all began. For the past 4 years, Alison has been a senior research fellow at WEHI, where a former boss as a university graduate, Professor Doug Hilton, is now the director. Her work at WEHI involves redefining how platelets are made in the human body, a breakthrough that was met with controversy because it turned 100 years of science on its head. Despite this initial backlash, this work was published in the International Research Journal, the Journal of Experimental Medicine, and has led to many other collaborations. Alison is now working on how to recreate platelet production in the lab at a large scale and testing drugs that help to stimulate this process. This research could ultimately provide a breakthrough with drug treatments that could stimulate platelet production for patients with low platelet count and bleeding. Another project Alison is passionate about is looking at exactly how platelets are involved in preventing brain bleeds in babies, reducing brain bleeds that could lead to the risk of cerebral palsy and other neurological conditions. This research so far has discovered that unborn babies need platelets to prevent brain bleeds and maintain healthy blood vessels developing. When you don't have platelets, these blood vessels of the brain break down and cause large bleeds. This work has just been published in the international journal Blood. This work has also led to understanding when to boost platelet numbers in the unborn baby, which could prevent cerebral palsy or miscarriage. Throughout all of her achievements, Alison has remained unassuming and humble. In fact, some of her friends are only now realising the global significance of her work. As one friend described it, Alison's ability to forge ahead in a field where women weren't always encouraged and to work her way up to the position she now holds is inspirational. Alison admits she is not one to shy away from a challenge or a touch of competition, which is perhaps why, for fun, she also once ran marathons in New York, London and Edinburgh. My sister, she says, always says, "You take things on, you're never scared to do things." There's just something in me that makes me do it.
Thank you for that. I just want to say that, I have a lot of really fond memories of being here at Emmanuel College. We were a group of kids that came over from Port Fairy And so there was a few of us girls in the same year level. And I'd just like to say that from those 5 girls, 3 of those girls went on and did science at Melbourne Uni and La Trobe University. So that's quite an amazing percentage of girls that went on to do science. So I suppose all I can say is that Emmanuel must have really inspired us, and the teachers we had must have been very inspiring in those years. I also remember having career classes, and I would go having no idea what I wanted to do. And so the teachers would say to me, so what do you like doing? And I would say, well, I really like the biology classes. And so I was just thinking, sitting in the audience, that's amazing. From that decision, I then went on and thought, well, maybe I'll do biological science at La Trobe. And then 30 years later, here I am accepting this award. So that's pretty amazing for a school to sort of push me in that direction and be correct. I'd also just really like to thank Mum and Dad, who couldn't make it here tonight, but they will be watching the recording. They encouraged us all at school throughout our time. But, they were very hardworking parents, and they didn't really have a great concept of academia or university, and they really encouraged us to pursue a career beyond, working in a shop in Port Fairy or whatever. They encouraged us to do what we wanted, and I always remember Mum and I getting on the train from Warrnambool to Melbourne and then heading out to La Trobe for my university interview. And, that would have all been a really big deal for Mum and Dad. So that was great. And then I also was thinking, it was amazing when I said, well, now I'm going to head off to Edinburgh. And I was only 25, 26. So as a parent now, that was amazing for them to encourage that. And when I did that, I didn't return for 12 years. So that was, again, just really great, encouraging parents. So, I would just like to thank Emmanuel for this award, and just thank you for all the really great memories, but friendships, like 2 of the girls I went through all of Emmanuel with the classes are here today. So, it was a really great time here, and thank you for the award.